So welcome to the show, everyone, and thank you very much for listening into the Empowerment Empire show today. My name is Lisa Schoneville, and today I will be interviewing the incredible Kat Crawford. So before I welcome Kat onto the show, I just want to say a few words, without stealing Kat's thunder, of course, about this incredible lady. So I've actually only known Kat for a few short years, but not only has she been a complete inspiration to me, but I know that she has also inspired hundreds, in fact, thousands of other people out there as well. So I'm really excited about our interview today. So Kat is a female entrepreneur and a married mum of 3 young children. So I am very much looking forward to picking Kat's brains about how she manages to balance and juggle being an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, and also having her family as well. So welcome to the show, Kat.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an introduction, Lisa.
You deserve it. You deserve it, let me tell you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely delighted to be part of the show, and also to be part of your the Empowerment Empire team as well.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we're absolutely delighted to have you as well. So before we kick off then, Kat, and ask you a few questions, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, perhaps like your upbringing, where you were born, your background. So just a little bit about yourself, just to let the kind of audience know who you are and what you're all about.
Okay, brilliant. No worries. Gosh, where do I start? I grew up in quite a small village, actually, a small village in Scotland called Kincardine, and I guess I had a pretty reasonable upbringing, nothing too stressful or nothing that caused any anxiety or anything like that. But I guess as I grew up, I realised that I've always wanted to be a mum. I suppose that's probably a good place to start. I am a mother of 3, and I always have wanted to be a mum. I reached a point in my life where motherhood was definitely something that I was craving. However, I also always wanted to be a businesswoman. And I kind of fell into banking, actually. My background is in the corporate world, and I spent 17 years in the HSBC Bank. And when I joined the bank, I'll be honest with you, I joined as a stopgap. I joined for pocket money. I joined because they were the first company to offer me a job. I didn't have a desire or a passion to absolutely be working for that organisation. It was just the first ones to interview me, basically. However, when I first started, and once I became involved in the team, and I guess started earning money, I then realised that I wanted to be a businesswoman. I wanted a career, but I wanted to be a mum as well. And I think sometimes that's something, well, I'm finding now, this is something that actually a lot of mums are almost a little bit afraid to admit. That, I think we feel as parents and as mums, we have to say that we want to be the mum that stay at home all the time, and that, I don't have an issue with mums who want to do that as well. We all have our own choices to make, and I love that part of my life. It's having the confidence to say as well, actually, I want to do something for me. I want to be a successful businesswoman as well. I want to make a difference. I want to be earning an income as well. And these were things that were important to me anyway. From quite early on, actually. And I guess I then decided that I wanted to stay with the bank. I wanted to finally achieve what I felt was the dream job, which was to become branch manager. And I had my sights on this from the age of about 18. And, I finally made it to branch manager like 16 years later. Worked very hard to get there, and I then thought, wow, this is the job of my dreams. I've actually got everything that I've ever wanted. But actually what I didn't have was a life. I had no time with the family that I then had. I had no time with my husband. I was missing this thing that everyone talked about, which was this work-life balance that actually at the time I flipping knew nothing about.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying with that as well, Kat, to be honest. And in fact, it's nice for the listeners to learn that it isn't just, you know, because sometimes you can feel that it's maybe just you that is experiencing these challenges, or you might feel some sort of guilt even around the fact that you want to be successful, the fact that you want to create a good career for yourself, but you also want to be a mum, you also want to be there for your family as well. So it can be very, very difficult trying to juggle all of that, you know, and decide how you can move forward, or how you can create this kind of work-life balance, if you like, in your life. And I think that sometimes we don't really fully understand what that means. And well, in fact, I certainly don't, because it's something that I've personally struggled with as well, Kat, because like you, I was in the kind of banking corporate world for a number of years, and you know, working long hours. And when my children came along, I decided I wanted a change. I then started up my own business, which I thought was going to give me the work-life balance that I thought I wanted and thought that I needed, or even thought what it was. And in fact, it turned out that I was working 70, 80 hours a week, you know, while trying to, you know, still spend time with my husband and my two children.
I know, it's crazy. And actually, I was, before I came on, I was having a little look at some of the stats, and I was a bit shocked at some of the things that I found. And the Harvard Law School did some research last year, actually, and they came up with some findings that 95% of the working population work more than 50 plus hours a week just now. So half of those people admitted to work more than 65 hours a week. That's just insane. But I was one of those people, just like you described. I was one of those statistics, because I just thought that was the normal thing to do. I guess it was ingrained into me. It was expected. I think a lot of people live in fear nowadays of redundancies happening, losing your job. So as a result of that, you give your organisation so much more of yourself than what you're ever prepared to do, or what you're actually ever paid for, etc. You don't always get that back in return. So that obviously doesn't help with the work-life balance at all, because we end up finding ourselves giving a lot more of ourselves up to organisations than we're actually giving up to our own home life and our own families.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you tell us then, Kat, a little bit about what you actually do at the moment? So what does your business involve, and how does Kat Crawford, if you like, impact the world?
Oh wow. Well, obviously in many ways.
Of course.
So what I do now, I guess, like I was saying before, I reached a point in my career where I realised I didn't have this work-life balance that everybody talked about. And I was, with my husband and I, were that sort of cliche ships passing in the night. I wasn't seeing my kids. I fell pregnant with my third little baby. And I thought I had this overwhelming feeling that something had to change. I had to find a way of creating this work-life balance thing that everybody talked about. So I found an opportunity where I'm able to now work from home. So now what I do is I help to coach people, I mentor them, I guess I inspire them to set then their own businesses up from home, so that they can then create the ideal work-life balance, whether that be around their family, their kids, maybe even an existing career, maybe their passions in life, sports, whatever it might be. I help people now find a way of creating that ideal work-life balance, because all those years, 3.5 years ago, when I found it was like an epiphany moment. I thought, wow, this is finally what it is that everyone's been talking about. So now I have the absolute pleasure of actually sharing that with other people and helping other people now find that as well. So for me, in terms of how I impact the world, as simple as it might be, that is exactly what I do, because I know how powerful it was for me and my family and the difference it made for us. And I'm now grateful that I get the opportunity to help other people experience that as well.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely incredible. But I know that there'll be people out there, Kat, that still don't really know what a work-life balance is. I know that sounds like a simple, straightforward question, because you would think, well, it's having a good balance between your work and your family life, or your life, but it's still something that I struggle with personally. So I'm quite interested to find out if what your kind of spin in that is, and what you think around what actual work-life balance is.
Yeah, I guess there's loads of and you're right, it does seem really simple.
Mm-hmm.
So 3.5 years ago I felt stupid because I didn't know what it
Yeah.
was. Actually, I'm still learning about what it is every single minute of every single day. So I think it's something that everyone struggles to get their head around, unless you absolutely feel completely content in all aspects of your life, which
Mm-hmm.
is quite rare in all honesty. But ultimately, it's the prioritization, I suppose, between work, so your career, your ambition, things that you do maybe to earn a living, etc., and your lifestyle. So things that would come under that heading would be your health, the things that you do for your health. So that could be sports, it could be meditation, it could be social activities, family life. So you're right, it's like, I'm a very visual person, so I visualize these scales with all of those things on each side, and trying to find a way of ensuring that those scales are never tipped in any one direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think what people think a work-life balance is, or what my misconception was, is cramming as much as you possibly can onto either side of those scales and doing it in the shortest time possible.
Yeah.
And actually then burning yourself out and reaching a point in your life where you don't know what you're actually doing or what your priorities are at all. And I guess that's what I thought it was. I thought it was just about doing everything that I could possibly do in the shortest time, and trying to be everything I could possibly be to everyone and everything that I touched.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case. Absolutely not. It's not about reaching burnout. It's actually quite the opposite. It's about finding a way of sometimes letting go of the things that are not important.
Mm-hmm.
And actually that's one of the biggest things that I've learned over the last 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. Prioritising is a word I've mentioned a couple of times. And actually prioritising what needs to be in my head is actually a massive part of finding the ideal work-life balance. Because sometimes we procrastinate with ourselves, and we find things in our heads that shouldn't be there, I suppose.
Yep.
So it's about finding ways of getting rid of those things that don't feature in our priorities. So prioritization is crucial in all aspects of your life. It's something that people think is only important in your work life. Yeah. So prioritizing a to-do list, for example, is probably quite a straightforward activity. But actually it's prioritizing people, thoughts, activities, tasks, and the times that you spend on all of these things as well. So it's one of the biggest things and one of the biggest stumbling blocks that lots of people have. Yeah. I have some little tips and things that I've found useful over the years. If you want me to maybe share some of those with you all. Yes.
That would be amazing. I was actually going to ask you, like, what advice or top tips, or would you possibly share with kind of the audience or people out there that's wanting to try and master this, or at least learn or get on the right track to creating the optimum work-life balance?
Yeah. Well, I guess it means different things to different people. I think that's quite important to say as well. I probably should have said that a bit earlier on. Because everybody's lives and priorities are different. So, just because this works for me doesn't mean it'll work for everybody. All of these things might not work well.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple other things. I guess one of the first things I would talk about is your belief in wanting a work-life balance to start with. I think we all crave it, but do you really have the right attitude to create that in your own life, because you have control of this? Mm-hmm. So in terms of the things that I think you can do with that, it's about taking care of yourself. It's difficult to serve your family, your career, your commitments in life fully with 100% unless you're fully serving yourself 100%. So that could be taking some time out to make sure you're eating well, drinking enough water, exercising as often as possible, walking places instead of taking the car, you know, little things. These are all things that I'm sure seem very basic, but actually they have a huge impact on your headspace and your positive mental attitude and your mindset in terms of how you can then proceed forward with the activities that you then have in front of you. I guess in a nutshell, you're no good to anyone unless you're the best you can be to yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm obviously I then prioritise my lists. Some people love lists. My house is covered in post-it notes. Some people, it's like their worst nightmare. So that's okay. It's about finding something that works for you, but finding a way of tracking your day so that the day doesn't reach its end and you feel like you've not achieved anything. And that's actually quite important for your positive mental attitude as well, as having a sense of achievement as your day goes on, and being able to tick off activities and tasks that you've done and actually feel good about that and give yourself a bit of a pat on the back as well. One that I struggled with a lot was leaving my work at work. So when I was actually in the corporate world, I would come home with files. I would come home with a home laptop, and they were very kind and they gave me home access. At the time sounded like amazing. I was like, wow, I've been given home access. I've been trusted with home access. What I didn't realise is it was actually going to be my biggest downfall, because as soon as you have home access, it means that you no longer are differentiating between work and home. You're now starting to bring your work home with you, and we're all guilty of it.
Yes.
So I, you know, either find a way of stopping completely, or finding a way of setting certain times aside to do that work and communicating with your home life, your partner, your family, etc., and explaining to them that on a Sunday evening, 7 till 9 is the time where you catch up on your work before you start back on Monday. So if you have to do some work at home, just making sure that that doesn't eke into every aspect of your work, your home life.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually, Kat, as well, because again, you know, I can hold my hands up to that and say it's something that I've been very guilty of. And what I've found has helped me, and you know, the businesses that I've had over the years is I'm fortunate enough to have a spare room where I've then created or turned into an office. So it means that when I'm finished doing my work, I can leave the office and close the door and leave everything behind. So it's because I know that there'll be people listening that perhaps run their own business from home, and that's something that I would imagine that many people will be struggling with, is allocating the time for your business and also for your family, but making sure that when you're leaving, you know, that work, even though you work from home, you still have perhaps even a space, even if it's an area or in your house or a little cupboard somewhere, or even if you can put things into a box and put the lid on and put it to the side, as opposed to having things perhaps spread all over the kitchen table. When you're finished, you know, maybe put it away so that it gives you that sense of, I'm finished my work. Do you feel that would help?
Definitely, absolutely. Now, I live in a fortunate enough that we have a 4-bedroom house, but the kids all have a room each. So I don't have a spare bedroom. So in our kitchen area, we've just had a bit of an extension done, which is lovely. And I always had this idea that I would have this lovely office space within the kitchen, but it never quite worked out. So I've actually converted a little area in my living room, my old living room now, into a little office space. It didn't cost much, but actually it means I can close a door.
Yes.
So it's quite a visual. I think something physically closing. I like the idea of putting things in a box, putting it away. I think that's really important. You know, having a cupboard space, putting it away, closing the door, actually visualizing the door closing means that that's now time to stop. I know that I used to, when I did work at the bank, I would arrive home, and one of the things I really desperately tried to do was anchor my thoughts of leaving my work at home as soon as the engine stopped running in the drive.
Right.
As soon as I moved the key from the ignition, it was like home time, and that instantly just signaled to me and my brain home time. And I used to even say it out loud sometimes, which I know sounds totally crazy, but actually it was telling my brain over and over and over again, keys out of the ignition, the engine stopped, I'm home now, it's home time. And actually that did help. So when I opened that door and I was faced with, at the time, 2 very young kids running towards me who demanded every ounce of my time, and so they rightly should be doing that, it meant that I was at home.
You were present
With them at all times. And that as a mother and a businesswoman, it's about being present in the moments that you do with your kids. You don't have to be with them all the time, but when you are with them, being present and giving them quality time is so powerful for them and for yourself as well. So no, I love the idea of closing something, a box, a door, an area. I think that's a really great idea. And I think what you've touched on there as well is something that I did want to mention, which is about technology.
Right.
I'm a bit of a technophobe, but I try and do everything I can to use technology to my advantage for creating a work-life balance. So things like your diary and your phone. My husband and I both have iPhones. You can sync them both. So we both now have synced calendars in our phones. So I don't feel like I'm taking full responsibility for all the kids and their activities and various things that go on in life. My husband knows about them now as well. I'll pop them in the diary. Everybody knows, because communication is key with this. Not just with yourself and communicating really positively with yourself, but actually communicating to everybody. Even my 3-year-old kid, I need to communicate clearly with her on what's happening. We sit down, this is so sad, we sit down on Sunday and we have a chat about what the week ahead looks like for us all. And we sort of, it's like a team meeting in my house.
I love that.
But we talk about it and it's fun, it's not like a big, a big deal. It's about the kids sharing what they're excited about for the week ahead. Us all talking about our exciting things for the week ahead, so that the kids know that mum is out at a meeting on Wednesday night, so maybe can't do bedtime, but that's okay because daddy will be home and I'll be doing bedtime on the other evenings. So it's just setting their expectations. Kids like routine, they like to know where mum and dad are, I suppose.
Brilliant, I love that. That's great.
Well, you'll all be having team meetings and
I know.
Things with your children.
So what's next for you then, Kat? What would you say is next for you? What have we got to look forward to?
Gosh, I think for me now, as sad as this might sound, is I just want to help as many people as I possibly can on my crusade that I'm on, to show people that there is more to life than 65 plus hours a week, but also to try and empower women and men to feel comfortable that they can have everything in life. So they can be a powerful businesswoman, they can be successful in their own right, in their own environments at work, etc. But they can also be a really good mother as well, or a really good father as well, and having the confidence and inspiring people to feel comfortable with that and not feeling like that's something that they should feel guilty about. And that there's ways out there of you being able to do both.
Absolutely. So I know that there'll be some people listening in today that's looking to perhaps reach out, learn a little bit more about you, really more about what it is that you do and how you help people. So where can they reach out? How can they find you, Kat?
I have a website, so they could pop onto my website, which is www.katcrawford.me. Or you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. And by searching either Kat Crawford or Dream Believe Achieve Limited is my actual business name.
Dream Believe Achieve, excellent. So before you go, I have got one other little question I want to ask you, and it's a personal question.
Okay.
And I'm just interested to know if you have any claims to fame or any fun facts that you would like to share with our listeners just to end off our interview.
So things that I'm happy to share, obviously. Fun fact. Okay, so what could I say? I am a second dan black belt in karate.
Oh my goodness, love it.
I noticed actually, did you not interview a gentleman recently?
Yes. Kareem, so he's an international Taekwondo martial art instructor. So yeah, I've known him for many years. In fact, because I done Taekwondo, we used to train together when we were younger. Kat, that's amazing.
And I once applied for Stars in Their Eyes.
No.
Yeah, as Shania Twain. And I sang, "Man, I feel like a woman."
Oh my goodness, you so look like her actually.
I so didn't get on. I was so rubbish. Thank goodness.
Oh, that's very interesting. I love to hear little fun facts about people and what they've been up to. Oh wow, that's excellent. Well, is there anything else, Kat, that you feel that you would like to add, before we finish up?
I think really just to summarise for me is that if you're feeling at the moment that things don't feel right in your heart of hearts, like things are, you feel like you're out of sync, and it might be with your personal life or your business life or your work, etc. You just feel out of sync, then it's probably because you don't have a balance. And I would urge you to find ways of creating this balance in your life, because it will bring you so much pleasure and joy in all aspects of your life once you find it, because you'll be the best you can be to all aspects.
Yeah.
And I think really also just to mention is to forget perfection.
Yeah.
I am a Virgo and I really struggle with being a bit of a perfectionist, and it's something that I do still struggle with personally. But in order to have this ideal life, an ideal work-life balance, you have to forget perfection, because actually striving for that all the time you will reach burnout. Yeah,
I think you're right, actually, because I've got I'm a Virgo as well, and I've got a very similar nature, and I can also see that it rubs off on my children as well. So even though they're not Virgos, I can see that when I'm constantly striving for perfection, that I can see that it's rubbing off in them, and I'm trying to explain to them that actually there's no such thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just about being the best that you can in the moment.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, listen, thank you so much. I have absolutely loved chatting with you today, and I know that there's going to be so many people out there that can really relate to what we've been speaking about. So thanks very much, and I appreciate your time and for sharing your top tips and things with us as well, Kat. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I'm sure your business will continue to go from strength to strength.
Thank you very much for having me. That's been brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Take care. And thanks to everyone for listening in to the Empowerment Empire show. Thank you. Bye-bye.